limit all of everybody having to listen to me. Thank you all for connecting with us for our DFW Metro NAACP meeting, Tuesday, May the 16th. We are super excited that all of you all decided to join us. We do have a special guest tonight. For those of you that don't know me, I am President Crystal Bates, and we have I think all of our officers are on the call today. So I'm really excited about that, and I'll introduce them as they participate in the meeting tonight. But we're going to go ahead and get started because our special guest is going to be entering pretty soon, and I'm going to try to stay on track so we can finish on time tonight so you all can get on about your evening. Again, welcome to our monthly general meeting. We have our general meetings, mark your calendars, every single third Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. Okay. And it's always via Zoom because we do get out in the community and do things. So that's our opportunity to mingle with one another. I am going to pass it over to our wonderful political action chair, Mr. Jeff Underwood, and he's going to open us up in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you once again, as we know how, thanking you for giving us this time to come together. We pray that you'll allow us to have a efficient meeting, and we know that your work here on earth is never done. So we pray that you'll continue to use us to execute your will here on earth, and we pray that we'll continue to be an impact to our community. Bless those that are here on the sound of my voice, and those that are on the way, and those that cannot be here tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Underwood. I appreciate you. Next, we're going to have our welcome by our communications chair, Ms. Drew Murray. She runs our communications team. If you are getting our amazing newsletter every month, Drew is the workaholic behind that with her communications team. So I'm going to let you. Oh, actually, Drew, I'm sorry, I'm messing up.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you're doing the birthdays. I forgot. I'm going to do the welcome of our guests. Please forgive me, Drew.
Don't worry.
Do we have any new visitors on the call today? If you haven't, if this is your first meeting, please unmute and say hello to us.
Hello, my name's Alicia Iwebu.
Okay, great. Tell us who invited you or how did you hear about the meeting?
My auntie, Lanita Rainey.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting you. We've heard great, amazing things about you. So we're looking forward to you getting engaged. And Miss Nita has been an amazing force since she stepped through the door. So we're glad to have you two as our new members. Awesome.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. My name is Molly. I have connected with some Travis County members, and I thought it would be good to connect in my local area.
So you're local here in the area?
Yes, I'm in Collin County.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Glad to have you. Looks like Crystal is frozen, so. Are there any other visitors that are on, or new guests that haven't come before?
I am as well, Lanita Rainey. This is my first time on the general meeting. So thank you so much for the welcome, President Bates, and the rest of the group.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Mr. Underwood. I am in Austin in a hotel. You all know with the legislative session going on and so many other things, I'm back and forth between Dallas and Austin. So I'm using my hotspot. So I appreciate you so much, Jeff, for picking up. Do we have anybody else? Thank you so much, Nita. We're excited to have you. Anybody else? Okay, Nita got on board. She's active with our hackathon team, and we're going to get her plugged into some other areas, but we're super excited to have you. Let's see, Drew, you're up. And Drew, again, is our communications chair.
So I'm going to communicate as far as, do we have any birthdays And anniversaries in May. Does anybody have one of those?
Well,
Nope.
Chris is not on the call, my son, but you all, you would not believe, but I have a 28-year-old young man. My son turned 28 on May the 12th, last Friday. I had our wonderful, you all know I just got selected to be in the Lyndon B. Johnson Women's Campaign School. And I got all of these amazing women from all across the nation to sing happy birthday to him. And it was awesome. So I did plug that in online, posted that video, but happy birthday to Chris. He's 28. That's my one and only. And my mother turned, well, my mother had a birthday on Sunday. So I got a lot of May birthdays around me. Okay, anybody else? Okay. Well, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, we are constantly having a membership campaign. And as I always say, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. If you have not saved this QR code, take a picture of it, scan it. It has some wonderful information, but it's so easy, and it takes each and every one of us to do this work and to make sure to get people engaged. Oftentimes I meet someone, they didn't even know our branch existed. You know, if they just moved to the area, most people that are in the area have seen us out and about. But definitely share, just walk up to someone and say hello. Then you pop out the QR code. I keep mine on the front of my cell phone. And then tell them how to get connected, because they can scan that QR code and there is a way for them to connect with us for communications where they can get our newsletter. Then they can also connect with us on Facebook, and then they can opt in for text messages or get connected with our GroupMe page and become a member. So there is, again, as easy as 1, 2, 3. And we ask everybody to take a moment to engage and invite somebody. And we all just participated in Kratide. So I want to ask everybody right now, just text somebody and tell them to check out DFW Metro NAACP.org and get involved, or share. Everybody received the text message today, share that with someone. They told us to stop and ask everybody to do it in real time during our Kratide training. Thank you to our leaders who participated in the Kratide. And again, thank you so much to Jeff and Drew for helping me get our meeting started. Our Madam Treasurer, Ms. Monica Underwood.
So just a quick advertisement on how to join DFW Metro from the national site. So you can actually go to NAACP.org, and in the top right corner, you will see an icon that says join the NAACP. If you click that icon, it will give you 2 options. One is to become a member, and the second option is to renew your membership, right? So if you already are a member, if you've been a member in the past and you want to get reactivated, then you can select that option. When you do so, it's just going to take you to a screen for you to input your information. And if you live in one of our service areas, when you put your zip code in, it will pull up DFW Metro. If you happen to live outside of the service area, that's perfectly fine. We are happy to have you join in on the work that we're doing here in the community. I would just suggest that for the zip code, you put in 75067, which is the Louisville zip code, and it will still pull up DFW Metro. So it is important that when you go on to join, that you actually find our specific branch name so that you can join our branch. You can do that. You can actually pay, submit everything online, and you will get 2 things. You'll get a digital membership card from the national office, and then you also will get a physical membership card that comes in the mail as well. You can join for as low as $30 for an annual membership for adults. Several of us who are active in the branch are doing a Silver Life membership. It is a $750 pledge that we're making to the NAACP, but we're paying it out over 10 years. So we're paying $75 each year annually for 10 years. And once we complete that, we are officially lifetime silver members of this organization. Also, if you have youth, in your home, any children or any, youth that you are guardians over, they can join as well. So if they are under 18, they can get youth memberships starting at $15. And you can do that in the same way, just going to the naacp.org and join in the top right corner, and you can enter for those memberships as well. So if you're not a financial member, we certainly hope that you would consider joining us. The finances, the financial proceeds that we get from membership is really a big help to keep this branch going. We are a somewhat new and small but mighty branch. And so the membership fees actually do help us to keep things going and to keep ourselves operating. So if you have not done it, I do encourage you and ask that you go onto the site and take a look and consider financially joining us.
Thank you so much, Madam Treasurer. Monica is a gift to us and one of our charter members, and I'm super excited to have her on our team. Thank you so much for that. And we encourage you all, even while we're on the call tonight, go ahead and join, become a member and join even now while we are on the call tonight. It'll take you just a second to do so. And she gave you all the information. So listen up. This is one thing the national office has been doing, is pushing membership. And we're just trying to share some easy ways for you all to engage. And just like voting and being active in our democracy, your every little bit helps. So these are just some effective ways that we put in place to help you all think about ways that you can engage yourself or engage others, become a regular lifetime member or renew, just as our Madam Treasurer just shared with you all. We want you all to aim to recruit at least one new member every single month. Identify and communicate with an old member is a great start. So everybody can do that. All we're asking you to do is reach out to one person and ask them to become a member, a lifetime member, or renew their membership. And number two, the second way that you can engage someone, you can become engaged. Our joint team meetings are every first Monday at 7 p.m. That's how you find out and get engaged. All of our teams, we have breakout rooms, and that's how you get on the ground and get active in our efforts to make a difference. So attend one of our joint team meetings. And again, that is every first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. Also, all of you all are engaged today in our general meeting. That is a great way to be engaged and invite somebody to come with you. Also, if you're on a team, you can connect them with one of the leaders. So, hey, you can say, listen, we are in need of this type of help or this type of help, and give them something to do. And then we want to invite them to participate in a community event. We're always invited out to table, do voter registration and other things. We're planning our amazing hackathon, which you all are hearing more about in just a little bit. But yes, there are so many ways for you to get engaged and be active. We want for us to do the amazing work that we are already known for, is that we need all of you all on board. So everybody on the call, we got something for you to do. So get engaged. So with no further ado, let me see. I am going to, let me make sure she's on. Is Miriam on the call? Okay, so we're going to go to the next thing because Miriam she'll be on in just a second. So we'll come back, okay? So let's recognize every month we're trying to recognize you all, because there's no way that I can do this by myself. Our Madam Treasurer can't do it by themselves. And also our communications chair, none of us can do this alone. So we try to recognize some superstars every month and give them kudos for all of the hard work that they are doing. And all of the hard work they are doing. I just a small token to recognize them for all of their efforts. And so our monthly DFW Metro NAACP Superstar today. Okay. Mr. Steve Preston, which Steve came on board as our secretary. He has jumped in and has been working tirelessly to get us caught up with some things, get the training going. So Steve is not on currently, but we are super excited with all of his effort and everything that he's been doing to get us on track and to make sure we remain compliant. So you all give Steve a hand. We're going to have him start reaching out to some of our members that need to renew their memberships. So yes, we are super excited to have Steve on board. And then next we have, I'm texting Mary, she's texting me, I'm sorry. Okay, of course, you all know that legislative session is in action right now. So in session, so she's leaving there to get to the Zoom. So anyway, next we have Mr. Jeff Underwood. Jeff is our political action chair. He came on board. He was helping someone else out that was leading our team. They became ill. So Jeff, without hesitation, stepped up, and we really, really appreciate him. His wife, our Madam Treasurer Underwood, got him connected as soon as they got married. As a matter of fact, they are coming up on their first year anniversary soon. And so Jeff has been working very hard. And another reason why I wanted to recognize Jeff, because you all see him here, you all see him at our joint team meetings, but in the meanwhile, there are a host of other meetings that Jeff is participating in, or either getting others connected from his team, such as the state of Texas has partnered with the Legal Defense Fund, and they have weekly been having legislative updates. So Jeff has been tuning into those meetings, or either having someone else to do so. We're part of the Our Vote, Our Voice, which is a nonpartisan Get Out the Vote coalition. He or someone from his team has been tuning into that. And also with Kimberly Williams, Jeff has also been working with a group of interns that we've had on board since earlier this year. We're in the process of forming a political action coalition, and Jeff has been working to get things in order to roll that out. So you all please give Jeff a hand, and guess what? We need you and he needs you on the political action team, because we got stuff to do. And also, I cannot definitely have to mention, when we get out and do tabling, Jeff always makes sure to be present, but also, and his wife is always present too. And his Omega brothers are always present, but he makes sure that our tables are manned, because we get out into the community and we do voter registration. And so he has been doing an amazing job and in making sure that it's covered and taken care of. And Jeff, I greatly appreciate you, and the rest of us do too. So you all please, please, please give Jeff a hand, and we appreciate all that you do. Okay, let me see if Marian's on the call yet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. And so how to volunteer with us is somebody can drop the links to the, what do you call it? The group me chats. If you're in a group me chat, or if you want to leave a email address, if there's anybody on the call that would like to get connected with any of our committees, we're going to make sure you get to do that. So I'm going to let you hear from the other leaders real quick, and I'm going to try to drop those in the chat while they are sharing. Okay, so we'll go in this order, our political action. As our Madam Treasurer said, that we are a small branch, but we are yet mighty. And so right now, these are the active committees that we have. We are in the process of desperately looking for someone to lead our education team and our health team. So if you know anybody, please have them to reach out to us. I'll put an email in the chat. So I am going to be quiet for a while so I can catch my breath. And then I need to make sure to get my help get my speaker on. And I'm going to let you hear from our leaders. And they're going to tell you what their committees are doing and how you can specifically get engaged with the tasks that they need filled. And if we could go in this order, and I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
Crystal, can you give me screen sharing?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you all because I don't want to us to get behind schedule. And Miriam will be on just a second here. Hang on, Drew. Anybody else need me to screen share? I'm gonna get you. Okay. You can go ahead. You ready, Drew?
We definitely appreciate all the work for all the volunteers that are on the political action committee. I'm definitely honored to be your chair, and we've got a lot of work we put in to get through this this last election last week or two. But the work never stops. So obviously we're in the legislative session trying to finish up this one and any other emergency sessions that are called at the Capitol down in Austin. So we're continuing to be active in the in writing notes and even testifying if we can for the different bills that affect our community and our service area with the NAACP, excuse me. And of course, there's another election coming up in the fall. So we'll still be out in the streets working to mobilize voters and registering new voters. So Crystal mentioned the coalition that we're working to establish. We're definitely have there's a dearth of activism here in our area. That was one of the reasons why we actually started this branch of the NAACP here in Louisville, Coppell, Flower Mound, Grapevine, Carrollton area, is because there is a lack of service in this area. So a lot of times when you think about getting out the Black vote, you think about South Dallas, but we are all over the place. So we definitely need your assistance volunteering with the PAC committee. Not only with the coalition, we'll be setting up more voter registration drives. Definitely encourage you to become a voter deputy registrar if you can. And join the group. I put in the group me chat link in the chat already, but definitely join our group. And we would love for you to become a VDR and help us get out and register new voters or voters that have changed their addresses. We know we move around Dallas all the time. So we definitely need your help there. In the third quarter, we're going to be definitely encouraging more people to run for local offices. As you see, a lot of the offices that we had in our last election were unopposed, but we definitely need to have as many of our people on the ballots as possible. We're also looking at creating a candidate forum or have the candidates come and speak to us. Obviously, we are a nonpartisan organization, but we do need to educate the electorate on who is on the ballot. So I definitely need your help working with that. So I'm looking for an assistant to help with our Meet the Candidates forum. And also, we're looking at maybe doing a cookout or get out to vote opportunity around the next election day. So we definitely need some help there from you volunteering to help out with that. And hopefully we can find a location that's close to a polling site that we're going to focus on, and we can walk on over and cast a vote. So we definitely appreciate your help, and we got a lot of committees that this branch can use you for, but I would love to have you on the political action committee. So I'll definitely put my email address in the chat. It is politicalaction@dfwmetronaacp.org. So thank you very much.
I'm going to share my screen. And tell me if you can see it. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm reporting for the communications team. And here are some of our goals. Of course, we want to complete the June newsletter. I spoke with Crystal, and we are going to try and put out a newsletter twice a month. So it won't be as long, but it'll be more timely as far as meetings coming up. And, you know, it might work really well. So we're going to try that in June, see how it goes. Number 2, I have the stats for one of our, I believe this was our our March 2023 newsletter. And here are the scores we get on the MailChimp analytics. We get 0 out of 3 for skimmability. Now you can take that one of 2 ways. That might just mean we have a little more info in there, you know, than they're looking for. Links and CTAs, and to be honest with you, I don't know what CTAs are yet, but we get a score of 3 out of 3. Text and visuals combination, 3 out of 3. Typography, 6 out of 8. Our next goal is to increase social media posts. I have to apologize because I've been off of Facebook for a while. I accidentally got 2 Facebook accounts, so I'm cleaning that up. And then I will be personally helping with that, as will other people on the communications team. Now, as Crystal mentioned, I did not attend all of the crafty, but I did attend part of the first one. And I thought it was fantastic. I think everybody should go to crafty if they can. And they gave a whole bunch of communications parameters. I took screenshots of that, and the communications team we're going to have a separate meeting on that and go over what they were saying. It was really great. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions about the communications team? That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Drew and Jeff, for your updates. And we'll pass it over, Mr. Howard. Do you want to give an update or invite for the Labor and Industry Committee? We will pass it over to Ms. Kimberly Williams. Our speaker has actually entered the call, so we're going to go ahead and let Kimberly give an update for our hackathon. Is that okay, Miriam? Okay, Kimberly, if you unmute and give an update for our hackathon team, and then we'll introduce our speaker.
Awesome. Thank you so much, President Bates, and good evening, everybody that is on the call. I am so ecstatic about this year's Hackathon 2024. We have some wonderful volunteers that have created our planning committee this year, and they are doing a wonderful work already. We have begun the hands-on work to lay the foundation so that when January comes, we are smooth sailing. So I'm very excited because in the areas of marketing, we have, some professional help, but we need some volunteers that are willing to help on our end in terms of communication, in terms of the Facebook pages and the Instagram pages, because I know that our Madam Treasurer who runs our IG page, we are going to be blowing you up, Monica, with so many different posts to make for the hackathon, because we want to connect with the community. And then you guys, the way that things get boosted out is because we are saving it and we are sharing it. So I'm going to be rallying volunteers to help push our content into the algorithm space. So that's what I need. I need people who are willing to help push our content into cyberspace. That's number one. And the second thing that we need help with is the education committee. I know you know exactly what our youth need when it comes to education in STEAM, right? So science, tech, engineering, art, and mathematics. So if you are aware of other organizations, or if you're aware of different schools that offer opportunities for our young people ages 9 to 14, so 4th grade to 8th grade, please, I want you to rally that and corral that information together and bring it to the hackathon meetings. So in our group chat right now, or the chat that's up here, you will see hackathon team chat link. It's for Group Me. I need you to join it so that you can help us to bring your energy, your expertise. And then you guys, I'm looking for a photographer. I know you know someone. We need a photographer and a videographer. So if that's you, you do it on your spare time, your part-time, or even your full-time, or you know a friend that has a friend, please invite them to that link so that we can build together. That's all I have for the time, because I'm excited to hear Miss Miriam Lackey to speak to us. So I'm going to move out of the way. Thank you, President Bates, for the minute.
You are so welcome. Thank you, Ms. Kimberly. Thank you for all that you do. You are amazing, and we definitely appreciate all that you do. Mr. Howard, did you want to give an update or anything for the labor and industry team? Mr. Howard is starting our labor and industry team, and he needs you on board. We're looking for our union representatives and also representatives from companies and industries that are not unionized. And so he definitely needs you on board. If you're interested, please drop your information in the chat. And so I am going to share my screen because, like Kimberly, I'm excited about our speaker for tonight. And we are going to definitely turn the floor over to her. Let me pull up my screen. Okay, hold on. Y'all know me trying to run both of these is a train wreck. Okay. Okay, good deal. There we go. We'll come back to that. Uh-oh. Oh, give me a second. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let me introduce our speaker, Ms. Miriam Luckey. She is the Executive Director for the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, which we know our president is Mr. Ron Reynolds. He is a House Representative. So Miriam Luckey currently serves as the Executive Director of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, which was founded in 1973. The Texas Legislative Black Caucus is a bipartisan organization comprised of 19 Black Texas state lawmakers. She previously served as the operations director of the Texas House Democratic Caucus and community engagement coordinator for Harris County, Precinct 1, Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Miriam is originally from Allen, Texas. So she is a North Texas native, and she is a proud first generation Ethiopian, Eritrean American. Please tell me how to pronounce that when you start, Miriam. So you all, let's give a hand for Ms. Miriam Luckey. We are super excited to have you on board. I met Miriam earlier this year during our state convention. President Bledsoe is spearheading the coalition of coalition of partners, professional organizations, I'm sorry, a coalition of professional organizations. And Ms. Miriam was invited over by Representative Ron Reynolds to give us a legislative course. And so she is awesome and amazing. So let's turn it over to Ms. Miriam Luckey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, President Bates. It's been a pleasure working alongside you. I can't believe that we find ourselves almost 6 months into the new year and at the end of almost the end of the legislative session. It's just been a whirlwind, if you can believe it. But good evening, everyone. My name is Miriam Luckey, Executive Director of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize for my tardiness. In the heat of everything, meeting end times are ambiguous. And so was just caught up in some last minute conversations at the end of the workday, but I really appreciate everyone's patience and really humbled to be joining you for a conversation today. As President Bates said, the TLBC is a bipartisan, bicameral organization made up of our 19 Black state lawmakers. That's 2 senators and 17 House members who have been hard at work this entire legislative session to deliver great, equitable policy back to our communities on a range of different topics and issues. I'm going to go ahead and drop this in the chat before we dive into the nitty gritty. But if you're not familiar with our agenda that we laid out this session, I've included the document below. And so back in February, our caucus defined the 6 legislative priorities or pillars that we would be really focusing on this session. So those included items like economic development, health and human services, voting rights, etc. And as a resource in that one pager, you'll find linked documents embedded under every subcategory that kind of list every member's bills and kind of the last actions that have happened on them. But and I'm sure you have, but if anyone has been tracking this session, you know that it has been a roller coaster. A lot of big fights have happened this session. Most recently, and even being discussed this morning, SB 8 regarding vouchers. And the unfortunate thing has been that we've seen a lot of oppressive bills make their way onto the floor and unfortunately pass both chambers because of the Republican-held majority in both the Senate and the House, and obviously the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor himself and the Speaker. So we have seen just, quite frankly, some of the most egregious pieces of legislation within the last decade pass through both chambers. And our members have put up a fight, right? On a number of issues and have kind of worked to hold the line. But we know that a lot of bad things are going to be put in front of the governor for his authorization. But in saying all of that, we're also glad to see a lot of really great bills also make their ways. And so to kind of give insight into the timeline, the last day of the legislative session is May 29th. And so the deadline for House bills to have passed out of the House chamber was last week. And so we are approaching the Senate bill deadline, which is next week on the 23rd. And so a lot of folks are now seeing their bills on the opposite ends of each chamber and working with their co-sponsors to push things through the second phase of this process, so that ultimately things will be referred to the governor's desk for passage. Like I said, we do have some wins. So HB 12 by Representative Rose out of Dallas, which would extend Medicaid to expecting mothers to 12 months postpartum, is on its very way, which is an incredible win for not just our own communities, but Texans everywhere. The Crown Act, HB 567 by Bowers, is also on its way onto the governor's desk. And so it's an incredible bill to eliminate hair discrimination from workplaces and schools, and has been the fight for Representative Bowers for a number of sessions. So we're really proud to have pushed it nearly all the way this session. And just a number of other bills that TLBC members have championed. And so in our legislative tracking, we've been able to note that out of 937 total bills that were filed at the beginning of the session, just from our 19 members, that 179 of those bills have passed at least one of the chambers, and 8 bills currently have passed both chambers. And of those 8, 4 are now being sent to the governor's desk for final approval, which is, it can seem like a big discrepancy, but understanding the thousands of bills that are filed every session and knowing that just a couple hundred, if that, are even being delivered to his desk is just a phenomenal feat. I mean, the process needed and taken for a bill to be passed is just astronomical. So I say that with a lot of optimism, but knowing that the fight is still ahead. What I'd like to highlight for everyone that the TLBC has kind of been charging with alongside the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the American Federation of Teachers, the American Association of University Professors, is our Texans United for DEI campaign. So we have been addressing those anti-DEI bills this session that are aimed to take funding away from DEI offices and initiatives on college campuses, which would completely eliminate the opportunity for diverse students to succeed and thrive on university campuses. And when we are in a state that loves to tout that we're the 9th largest economy in the world, understanding that the bedrock of all of that is a skilled and educated workforce, it is incredibly unfortunate dismantling of the next generation to be able to participate in in this economic boom that Texas is experiencing, right? And so that has kind of been our fight this session. More specifically, SB 17 and SB 18. SB 18 would adjust the provisions of tenureship at colleges and universities and make it extremely difficult for anyone to seek tenure or be employed by a university if they were to speak on DEI or anything aligned to race and ethnicity on a college campus, astonishingly. And then SB 17 would eliminate dollars to be used on colleges to fund and operate DEI offices on campus. And so SB 18 has just now today been referred for the floor on Thursday. So that'll be heard in front of the House and voted upon. And we're working on strategies in order to, if anything, make the bill better, but in any case, try and halt its progression. And same goes for 17 as it's not been referred to the floor yet. And so that is kind of the fight that our membership is taking on right now in these, the last 2 weeks of session, is that everything has, presumably exited committee and has already, been voted on at least once in a chamber and is now making its way through the adjoining chamber. And our members are just hard at work in order to stop a lot of these bills and or to adopt amendments to make them better. And so I think the charge now, especially in coordinating with stakeholders and community members, is being able to inform community groups like the NAACP when a major bill is on the floor, and relying on your relentless pressure to call through the members of both chambers and ask that they support important legislation, or they vote no against harmful legislation, and why it's important to them, and why their constituents are concerned about a particular bill. And I think that the constant keeping their feet to the fire consistently has really helped our membership just stop a lot of really egregious legislation this session. And we commend organizations like the NAACP for all of your very quick mobilization on a lot of different topics. But I just want to leave on the note that, while session is wrapping up, and more of the kind of public involvement is kind of rounding off within this week, wanting to also put a call to action for folks to consistently place accountability on lawmakers. And I think that is kind of the year-round ask surrounding the legislature. I've done this is my third legislative session. And I think folks like to, just think about Austin and the Capitol and state lawmakers, for the 140 days that we're in the Capitol, but understanding that we're discussing bills that are going to have effects for the next 2 years on folks. And so consistently holding folks accountable, applying pressure, raising your voices and your concerns to your lawmakers is quintessential to a successful session in the biennium. So I as an organizer myself, that is something that I always tell folks is that, we're going to see rough sessions where that's undoubtable. That's a given just with the power dynamic. That does not mean that we are to quit being relentless or make it easy for folks to take away our rights and take away our voice. I mean, just being there consistently and always staying involved is a necessary pressure that works on our end tremendously. So I just wanted to leave that with the group. Again, we are looking and tracking a number of our members' bills that are working in the Senate, and then obviously Senator Miles and Senator West's bills that are making it through the House, and would love to continue engaging the NAACP on upcoming important votes. If there's time and capacity to send emails and calls to the lawmakers that maybe aren't necessarily on our side is always great. And again, a charge that I would implore everyone to help us with more immediately are those anti-DEI bills that are making its way into the House. And so would love to answer any questions or make space for discussion of if anyone has any questions about the legislature or this session in particular. But thank you again, President Blades, for the space and the time. Yeah, again, happy to take any questions or discuss anything in more detail.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lucky. We are open the floor up for questions and comments and dialogue now.
Are there any bills that you think will be sliding into a special session or an emergency session?
So I'm sorry, were you just any bills?
Yes.
Was the question? So right now the conversation is definitely vouchers. And then more slightly conversations on property taxes and the budget. And I know those are major priorities. And so I will just say that folks are jokingly, not really jokingly, extending their leases because it seems more and more likely that a special session will happen because of those defined priorities by both the lieutenant governor and the governor. And those needing to happen before anyone checks out. So I would say those are definitely the two priorities that, if not passed or not passed with certain provisions in place, we'll call for a special session.
Thank you. Anybody else, please unmute and ask your question or share your comments. Now, on yesterday, and actually I was supposed to be in town for I was in town and did not make it because I had meetings that held me up. But there wasn't there a protest or something, not necessarily a protest, but in reference to the mass shooting in Allen, weren't there individuals there yesterday? Are you aware?
I think I had seen, and forgive me, I'm not really familiar, I don't think, with the organization, but I believe it was parents from Collin County, or at least the DFW area, advocating for gun reform. And I know they spoke to a number of representatives, those including Senator Gutierrez, who has been a relentless advocate since the tragedy in Uvalde. And I know he had time to meet with them. I would say, that as someone from Allen, that was, because if anyone was tracking, don't quiz me on bill numbers, they kind of mushed together, but 2744 was the bill that ultimately they were able to pass out of the committee by a vote called, which was great, and a great win, and I think it was necessary for folks. But the holdup was for calendars to have voted it or scheduled it for the floor, and there was a 10 p.m. deadline, and I believe it was last Wednesday or Thursday, and there were a number of families that were still in the chamber up until the deadline of 10 p.m., outside, chanting for our legislators to, and more particularly calendars, to just set it. And unfortunately that didn't happen, which ultimately killed the bill. And I know it's been just incredibly disheartening after another tragedy in our state to see an opportunity in a window for progress and change flows very quickly. And I think it's completely inexcusable, because the opportunity was there and that should have happened. There was no excuse to make actionable change this session as it relates to that issue. And I think that, again, is the accountability piece in all of this, is understanding that there is 140 days to make real change and answer the call that Texans are making to our government. And when it doesn't happen, it is such a disservice. I think also we saw kind of the same energy when we were discussing the budget. And so folks are following the budget night. Texas had, this biennium had a $300 billion budget with a $50 billion surplus. And we couldn't even give teachers a necessary pay raise. That would have left an adequate amount to conduct and hold up all other responsibilities in our budget. And so I think that's another realization in this session, is understanding that these are the priorities that have been set by those in charge, and they are not reflective of public opinion and the day-to-day that Texans are facing and are calling on their lawmakers to actually work on. And so it is, again, it is inexcusable that we are leaving this session without a pay raise to teachers, without adequate funding to our public educations or public schools, and without necessary gun reforms that would prevent similar tragedies from happening again in this state. And so I don't want to say all of that to discourage anyone from our government or its process. It is just going to take, necessary advocacy to ensure that we are not in this position again, and we can truly make Texas better for its future. I think, and I don't want to misquote, but it was Barbara Jordan that said, what people want is simple, an America as good as its promise. For me, Texans are calling upon a state as good as its potential. I've worked politics in the state, and I'm still early in my career, but I've also worked in Georgia and just along in the South. And I think we don't credit ourselves with how much of an influence and blueprint we could be on the national scale. I mean, Texas has the most African Americans by population than any other state in this nation. We should be leading the conversation in addressing maternal mortality rates, in workforce development, in just all of these important conversations in our community that could rise and really bring up our populations and set the tempo for the rest of the nation. I think Texas is selling itself short for no other reason than for leadership. And I think that needs to, again, hit us hard when we are, when we find ourselves in the fall during a particular season, not to get out of my scope of expertise, but frankly, yeah, when you're at the polls, know that and know what the vote record of your member or representative was in the previous legislative session. Because if they didn't vote alongside what your community needs, why bring them back for another session where they're continuously not going to deliver for you again? So I think this, and kind of reflecting back on this session, is going to be a charge for reform, because we cannot be in this position again, where we are simply negotiating, where we are simply just worried about making things less bad. I want to sit at a table and have the conversations of how much good can we do in 140 days. That needs to be the tempo when we come back in 2025, and just how we are finishing out this session. So I'm sorry to ramble on.
No, you're fine. Thank you so much, Ms. Miriam Lucky. If there's anybody else that has any questions or comments for Ms. Lucky, please drop them in the chat, or just stop me, raise your hand. But thank you so much, Miriam. You are amazing. You've given us great information. And I know you all, we've been having individuals speaking on the legislative session and these bills for the last couple of meetings. And the importance of it is one thing that Miriam just spoke about, is that it takes us. Again, I want you all to know that I don't want anybody to say that DFW Metro NAACP's members did not know. I want you all to be informed, because the more informed you are, the more equipped you are to respond and advocate and educate. We're responsible for disseminating this information to those that are not present. As Miriam stated, after this legislative session and all of this foolery has been implemented, and people started actually feeling the effect of some of the ill will and harmful bills that were passed, or the missed opportunities for bills that really could have made a difference and impacted us all in an amazing way. We want people to know that they have the power to make a change, so we won't be back in this position again. But this was important to me, to make sure people are informed. One thing I've noticed when I come down here to Austin, and it's noticeable to me because I don't see it in Dallas, is that a lot of the billboards here will have say no or say yes to SB such and such or HB whatever. Like throughout the city, there are mentions of different bills to engage people and advocate. And then, of course, we listen to Jason Whiteley with Texas Politics. I think it's the name of that show. But he gives a good weekly update on the legislation. But a lot of people just don't know what's going on. So as you all get informed, when we have our speakers here, Miriam gave us some things that we can do to actually take action and make a difference. Our political action chair, Mr. Jeff Underwood, has given information. I'm going to ask that Jeff and Drew and Monica, if you all could disseminate some of this information. You all have been doing so, but let's keep and just post even more opportunities for people to be engaged, to write letters, to make phone calls. That stuff does make a difference. But even more importantly, when you all get off the call today, call somebody and share some of this information, text somebody, post something on your Facebook page. It goes a long way. People just really don't know what's going on. And that's why I find it important for us to make sure that I have somebody on the call during these 140 days to keep us informed and engage us in ways that we can make a difference. And we just had our municipal elections. We only have a few African-American individuals in our area that host school board seats. And one seat that was very important that we all really wanted to stay maintained by someone who had our best interest at heart, just by maybe 75 to 100 votes, they were not able to maintain that seat. And that's very disappointing. And when you allow others to get in those places that are trying to ban books and uplifting, talking about, fussing about the CRT stuff and just things that really don't align with what our beliefs are and have our best interest at heart. Our kids are going to suffer. And so it is very disappointing, but there's still more that we can do. If you want to caravan, get in a carpool, come on down here to the Capitol. All the doors are open. The chambers are open for you to go in. If you don't know what to say or do, you can always reach out to Miriam or any of our representatives there. You can call me and I can tell you what you need to do. But we've been sharing that information. And if you're not in the political action chat, even if you're not going to engage at this point, our Jeff does share information in there. I do as well to give you opportunities and calls to action. Okay, and I think that's it. Did anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay. So go ahead.
I want to say something. Okay, Crystal, I think your movement to talking about these legislative bills, and thank you to Miriam for coming and talking about them also. I think that is super great because I do believe people don't really know what's going on. They elect people, they keep voting for the same person, but they don't really know a lot of times what they're up to when they're in the legislature. And all these moves to, you know, in my mind, you know, squash progress is just awful. And I think you're right. We need to get people engaged and get them kind of mad and excited and start helping elect people that are more in line with their views. I think it's a great avenue to change some things.
Right. I definitely agree, Drew. And then another thing is like the Medicaid expansion. People just don't realize, some of us know, but in case you all don't know, The federal government had funds available. They're still available. They were available to the entire nation, every state, to help with subsidies for those that needed health insurance and health coverage. But because our governor has declined free money, property taxes are up. People don't understand we're paying high property taxes. We don't have a state tax here, but there are other ways that we're being taxed and to cover those expenses because he's declining free money to prove a point to who, you know? And so again, not having that information, we're voting in people, and people every day are going broke in bankruptcy because of health emergencies. I mean, everybody on this call knows someone who's dealt with cancer, or at some point has seen or heard a neighbor having to call the ambulance or something. But again, there were funds available that could have helped. You know, you have people here in Texas complaining like that the healthcare rates are astronomical. Like they're just, well, your governor, there was free money to help you pay for these expenses and to lower those costs, but he declined the money. So we got to let people know these truths and inform them of what's going on. But it is very unfortunate. And Drew, you're right, you know, just trying to help get the information out there. And what's really sad is those families in Allen, those families in Uvalde, right after this situation just happened in Allen, within less than a week or two, as Marion said, you missed the opportunity. You may as well spit in these people's face, threw the middle finger up or something. I mean, you really blatantly said those lives didn't matter because they missed an opportunity to have responded and did something about it. So I don't know. I'm at a loss for words sometimes, but we don't have to vote them out. We need to identify who these lawmakers are, say their names, and let people know and tell people how they voted. Let people know that's our job. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward so we can finish up on time. And if anybody else has anything, please feel free to stop me or interject. Just a couple of announcements. Drew mentioned the CRATI training that we all just had. Drew, if you could look up, there are some links if people missed it. If you can go to that website or something and see if we can include those in the newsletter, and if we can post some of those links possibly on the website. We still are planning to do, I need someone to volunteer to lead this for me. I already have the books. The author, Mr. Jim Schutz, is available and wants to do a book signing in the opening session. I also even have a couple of other names. I just need somebody to organize this and get this going. I got boxes and boxes of books in my office and I need them out of my office. But I want us to do this book club. If you all are not familiar with the accommodation book, this book was in publications quite some years ago. It went out of publication when I got involved and engaged in Dallas. People were like, oh, you need a copy. The copies were almost $1,500. So a private donor helped the author republish the books. And not only did they do that, they bought 50,000 books to make sure people knew the dirty secrets, the dark and dirty secrets of redlining and racism and discrimination that the city of Dallas was built on and continues to implement in various areas. Reading this book will help us kind of understand, and not only in the city of Dallas, it is bled out into the suburban areas, and we are dealing with the ramifications of some of that discrimination. So I think this is important for us to walk through this book together. And so if anybody is available, again, I will give you all the ammunition and everything you need. I just need somebody to man it, okay? So please drop it in the chat if you are available and willing. Mark your calendars for our upcoming joint team meeting, which is going to be Monday, June the 5th at 7 p.m. Please, please, please mark your calendar for that. And we are going to use this is the link. If you all could take a picture of that, that's the link. We use the same link every month. Share that information with someone else and put it on your calendars now. Our next June general meeting is going to be June the 20th. 2023. If you all have meeting ideas, speaker ideas, or something special you want to hear about, I know our political action chair, we're going to have somebody speak from CASA within the next month or two. If you have other ideas or other things that you want to hear about, please let me know ASAP so I can get them on the calendar. But mark your calendars for our next general meeting, again, June 20th at 6 p.m. And again, it's going to be the same. All you got to do is save today's link. So you'll have that. Here, take a picture of this information. We need everybody to be certified as a BDR so you can help register people to vote. And I would also like for us to consider doing an in-person meeting, maybe quarterly. So if you know of any places that possibly we can do that or have comments, please let us know. Connect with us via email, dfwmetro2020@gmail.com. Also take a picture if you're not connected with us on Facebook. There's our URL. And then also on Instagram. And we need somebody to help us with the Twitter page. We probably need to deactivate that until we can get somebody to run that. And of course, you can always connect with us on our website, dfwmetro.naacp.org. If you did not get the newsletter, check your spam. If you haven't opted in, go to dfwmetro.naacp.org so you can opt in to get our newsletters. We also send out friendly reminders via text and email about our meetings, so you won't miss anything. But save our website information, and there's how you opt in. And so thank you to our officers and our leaders, our speaker, Ms. Miriam Lucky, and also our members and other community individuals that joined the call today. I will stay on the call if we have new people that want to get connected. If you're not connected, please stay on the call so I can chat with you and our other leaders as well. That's all for now. And then we'll get, real quick, those of you that tuned in for CRATA, do you have one quick thing that you want to share that you learned or that stood out during the CRATA trainings? For me, I want to share with you all, they want us to stop saying NAACP. I am going to work on that. They want us to say the letters NAACP. Okay, so if you all hear me stumbling over that, I'm trying to get out of the habit and trying to say it the way that they want us to start saying it now, NAACP. Okay, so that's my one thing. Anybody else have anything else they want to add?
I'll add to it about the crest. We're no longer going to be using the seal for NAACP, and so it was a lot of uproar all throughout the chat about it. But I do like the clean and the sleek look that we're going for, and I think it's moving us into a more modern direction. But it is hard to let go of things we're used to seeing.
Absolutely, Kim, girl, they was about to fight on it. They was mad about that for sure. Okay, anybody else?
I like that they have new colors, they have a palette of certain colors. And I thought that Kimberly's right also. They made a really nice, clean, modern look.
Yeah, so they distributed a new media, what do they call it? A media kit. So we can use certain fonts and also certain colors, and they gave us the CMKY or whatever, those letters to make sure we match up with the colors. Yes. Anybody else? I know Jeff and Monica, you all tuned in. You all have anything you want to share from CRATA? And for you all are not familiar, CRATA stands for Civil Rights and Advocacy Training Institute. It's an annual event hosted by the National NAACP.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely we'll need to continue to engage our members and our visitors. There's plenty of work to be done, so we will be reaching out to you individually for little tasks to do to help us out. So we don't need you to lead a team or lead a committee, but there's little things that we need to get done that we're a volunteer organization, but we definitely need your help. So we will be reaching out to you in all these different areas that we have a focus that's critical in this area that we're serving. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Well, I appreciate that. Yes, you all, we're on it. We're trying to get you all, because the more of you all we get engaged, the more we can do in the community. So yes, we gotta get out there and get it. Okay, Madam Treasurer, anybody else? Okay. So you all, we're going to wrap up, and you all have a blessed and amazing day. We thank you all for tuning in. And again, if you all are new and this is your first time here, please stay on the call with me for a second. I want to release everybody else, but I can answer any questions, and let's get you all engaged. And any officer or leader that wants to stay on, you can. And if not, I understand, but we kept you long enough. Okay. You all take care. Have a blessed evening.